And I mean, I've already kind of been pointing at certain photographs, but I'd like to just say a few words about each of the photographs in the exhibition, if I have the time. I'm doing not too bad. So, you know, here again, I'm focusing on the decommissioning of the Dow plant. So this is basically left abandoned. There's a small generating station which is still producing power. A lot of the corporations share products. So one refinery will take the crude and turn it into, you know, petroleum, or not petroleum, gasoline or jet fuel. Then it becomes increasingly more and more specialized. There are pipelines that run overground and underground all throughout Chemical Valley. And so Shell will cooperate with Imperial, will cooperate with, you know, Bayer or whatever, and they all manufacture these kind of niche products. And it's a very kind of integrated process there. But so they continue to export power here. But you can see in this image how everything has begun to regrow in the fields. It's not manicured. I've spoken already about the cemetery image, which is surrounded on all sides by industry. This image was taken in a park just south of Sarnia in a town called Corunna. And in Corunna, it's a very weird park, strangest thing I've ever seen. You pull off of the main road, you park your car, you walk 10 meters, and you come to the place where I took this photograph. 10 meters. It's not like I walked a kilometer to get here. And then another 10 meters, the path ends, and you have a refinery. So I still don't know what the purpose of this park is. Presumably, you walk your dog and pick up after it, and then go back to Sarnia. This image, this is of the St. Clair Tunnel. This was the world's longest, first actually, and longest at the time in the world, subaqueous marine railway tunnel. So it goes underneath the St. Clair River and it emerges on the Michigan side. And I was telling Jean-Pierre earlier that Thomas Edison made a film where the train goes into this tunnel, and it was the first use of flash powder in cinema. So he was illuminating the inside of the tunnel with flash powder. And then it was also the first cinematic use of the dissolve. So you see the train going into the tunnel, and then the film dissolves, and it comes out on the Michigan side again, and that was, you know, the cut was made in this way. And they closed that a long time ago, but there's been a bigger version of the tunnel made. And you see Imperial Oil in the background. And there's nothing, you know, spectacular to say about this image. But again, it was, you know, me going around the periphery of Chemical Valley. I didn't want to take this you know, more grandiose view of the industry, like, you know, the photographer Ed Bertinsky certainly in his project Oil, Bertinsky Oil has done this. It's often an elevated perspective showing, you know, the vastness of industry, and these photographs already exist. It was important to me for this project to photograph mainly from ground level so that it gives a sense of the human scale relationship to the landscape. And this is the Dow Chemical Wetlands, where you see another refinery in the back. And the Black Creek, where it all began. This is the Fairbank oil property here. So this is the oldest you know, family in the region, multi-generational family. And this is the only image taken from Petrolia. So in Petrolia, they do still extract a little bit of oil there, but it's mainly a museum. It's not as profitable. There. And this is the photograph that's supposed to be here that was taken down for the projection. And that's that one. So to talk about where I'm going a little bit with the project and to wrap up, in May of 2012, last year, one year ago basically, I decided it would be interesting because in speaking to all of the people in the Sarnia region, what I always heard was about the history, we were the first. The Americans thought that they were the first in Western Pennsylvania to take oil from the ground, but we beat them by a year. So I said to myself, this is going to be interesting. I will go to Western Pennsylvania and Western New York and photograph and make video at the Drake Well and follow the oil history there. So I spent a period of around a week last May, going to this site. This is Colonel Edwin Drake in 1859 in front of his well. And you'll see when you go there, it says the world's first oil well. And they also claim to have the oldest producing oil well in the world, which was drilled in August 1861. And here you see me with my kit, the large format camera, taking a picture of the Drake well as it looks today. And the site does not produce petroleum. It's exclusively a museum. So for the next incarnation of this exhibition, because in August it goes to Sarnia, to the gallery there, I want to engage in a dialogue between southwestern Ontario and the oil heritage there, and the oil heritage in western Pennsylvania. So these are just some of the images, just a quick few images. And I also am working with a 3-channel video installation with the equipment, similar, because the equipment is very different in appearance, but it serves the same purpose as the equipment that you see in the projection on the other side of this wall. This is a ghost town called Pit Hole, which in the span of around 3 or 4 years boomed to 10,000 people and then disappeared. They had something like 26 hotels, many of which were in a state of not being complete, and then they just ran out of oil. And the final image of my presentation is the Seneca Oil Springs. So this is in western New York State. And this is a testament to, the First Nations oil history. The Seneca First Nation were using oil as a topical solution. And it looks a bit, you don't see the actual spring in the photograph here, but it looks a bit like the Black Lodge for the Twin Peaks fans in the room. It's just this huge black hole in the ground, and the oil naturally comes to the surface. So these are some of the images for the next installation of the exhibition. So I hope I didn't go too far over time. I thank you very much for your patience.